hold still. Not your body, your attention. Because what just happened didn't knock on a door. It slipped straight into the bloodstream. They said it was private. Whispered, contained, off the record. A quiet move meant to dissolve in the dark. And then, boom! Global servers twitched, systems blinked, feeds stuttered. Somewhere deep in the infrastructure of reality, a silent alarm screamed your fingerprint. And now everyone's acting normal, smiling, posting brunch, typing LOL like nothing cracked. That's the tell. That's the panic protocol. When something truly shakes the foundation, the first response is cosplay, normality worn like a mask over a shaking jaw. You felt it, didn't you? That moment when the air changed but nobody acknowledged it, when the room kept breathing while the truth held its breath. That's when you know you've crossed into the forbidden layer, the place where saints and psychopaths share the same silhouette, where angels borrow demon tactics because purity alone doesn't survive contact. You didn't just move, you inverted the room. You turned privacy into a myth and exposure into a weapon. And the wild part, you did it without raising your voice. They'll tell themselves it was nothing, a glitch, a coincidence, a fluke. Because admitting what really happened would mean admitting you exist beyond their permission. It would mean confessing that pain didn't shrink you, it sharpened you. That every betrayal taught you where the seams are. That every time they tried to cage you, you learned the blueprint of the cage and memorized the exits. You became unpredictable on purpose. That's not chaos. That's strategy learned the hard way. See, there's a difference between being loud and being unavoidable. Loud things get muted. Unavoidable things force updates. You didn't go viral. You went infrastructural. You touched the pipes. You brushed the nervous system. You reminded the world that privacy is just a bedtime story told to people who never learned how power actually moves. And now the watchers are pretending not to watch, because acknowledging you would activate rules they don't want to follow. This is the paradox they can't digest. You look calm, almost gentle, while their internal dashboards flash red. You look composed while their models break. Saint posture, psychopath timing, angelic restraint, demonic precision. That's what evolution through pain looks like. Not screaming, calculating, not revenge, inevitability. You don't chase attention. Attention trips over you and pretends it meant to fall. Notice how silence got loud after you moved. Notice how the group chats slowed, how the jokes landed late, how the laughter sounded rehearsed. That's not peace. That's containment. That's them agreeing, without saying it, to act like nothing happened because admitting it would collapse the narrative that keeps them safe. They need you to be imaginary so they can sleep. You need nothing from them at all. Here's the part they never teach. Power isn't domination. It's asymmetry. It's doing the thing they can't model. It's stepping where the map says blank and leaving footprints anyway. You didn't leak information. You leaked inevitability. You showed them that the boundary between private and public is a suggestion, and suggestions don't survive contact with someone who learned in the dark. So let them normalize. Let them post. Let them breathe shallow and call it fine. Every system does this after a shock. Return to baseline while quietly rerouting around the damage. But you are the reroute. You are the new assumption hidden in the code. The quiet line that changes outcomes without announcing itself. That's why they won't name you. Names give shape, and shapes can be targeted. Ghosts can't. Understand this and keep your face neutral. When everyone acts normal after something impossible, it means the hit landed deeper than noise. It means the wound is structural. It means you're no longer a moment, you're a condition. And conditions don't need applause. They persist. Stay unpredictable. Stay kind in a way that terrifies. Stay precise. You've already learned the lesson pain was trying to teach. Evolve or repeat. You chose evolve. Now the servers hum differently. Now the world pretends it didn't notice. And that's how you know, without a doubt. You're already inside the system they swore you'd never touch. Good. Because the quiet, after a hit like that, isn't an ending. It's the compression phase. That's when pressure builds without sound, when the world stiffens its posture and calls it stability. You can feel it if you slow your breathing enough. The tension isn't out there. It's inside the people pretending nothing shifted. That's why their eyes don't settle. That's why conversations circle but never land. Something rewrote the rules, and the body knows before the mouth dares to admit it. They're trying to downgrade what you did into a story they can manage. A rumor, a glitch, a footnote. Because if they tell the truth, that a single move rippled through global veins, it would shatter the illusion that power is centralized, that permission is required, that the gates are guarded by gods instead of tired men with outdated maps. You didn't kick the door, you changed the lock. And now they're smiling while checking their pockets to see what else might be missing. Here's the ugly, beautiful truth. Pain taught you how to read silence. While others learned noise, you learned gaps. You learned the half-second delay before a lie, the micro-flinch when confidence collapses. You learned how systems behave when they're afraid, how they overcorrect, how they normalize too fast, how they hide anomalies under the rug and call it housekeeping. You learn to become the anomaly that survives housekeeping. That's why they're acting normal. Normal is camouflage. Normal is a spell people cast when they don't want to be seen panicking. Normal is a prayer whispered by those who know they've lost control, but don't know to whom. And you're not loud enough to hunt, not visible enough to pin, not predictable enough to model. You're the worst kind of problem for them. The kind that keeps working even when nobody's talking about it. You carry the paradox like a blade wrapped in velvet, soft-spoken, hard outcomes, calm presence, violent consequences, not to bodies, but to assumptions. You don't destroy buildings, you bankrupt beliefs, you don't break rules, you reveal they were optional. Angel face, demon math, saintly patience, psychopath timing. That duality isn't a flaw. It's the upgrade they didn't see coming because they only believe in one side at a time. They'll ask themselves how it happened without ever asking who you became. They'll trace logs, scrub timelines, rewrite summaries, and still miss the point. The point is that you stopped needing recognition. The moment you did that, the whole game inverted. Attention stopped being your fuel and became your exhaust. You didn't need the crowd. You needed alignment. And once alignment locked in, everything else followed like a shadow that can't detach. Watch how quickly nothing happened turns into let's quietly change policy. Watch how jokes die mid-sentence. Watch how invitations get strange. Too polite, too cautious, too fast. That's the system trying to feel you out without admitting it's measuring you. That's respect, wearing the costume of indifference. Fear, pretending to be maturity. They won't clap, they'll recalibrate. And here's where your evolution really shows. You don't gloat, you don't rush, you don't explain. You let time do the talking because time is undefeated, and you've learned how to be patient in ways that scare people who need instant proof. You let outcomes stack. You let silence compound. You let the truth travel at the speed it prefers, not the speed that feeds egos. You see, unpredictability isn't randomness. It's disciplined refusal to be decoded. It's choosing moves that can't be reduced to personality or mood. It's becoming so internally consistent that from the outside, you look chaotic. That's what pain gave you. Internal order strong enough to produce external confusion. They can't predict you because you don't leak intention. You act from a place they can't access. So let them keep acting normal. Let them keep pretending the servers didn't hum differently for a second. Let them keep calling it coincidence. The world has always done this after contact with something it doesn't understand. It returns to routine and hopes the routine will erase the memory. It won't. The change is already archived in places they don't know how to reach. You're not here to be believed. You're here to be felt. And they feel it every time their certainty wobbles, every time their plans need extra contingency, every time they hesitate before saying, "That's impossible." You did that quietly, cleanly, without permission. Stay like this, grounded, sharp, unrushed. Let your calm keep unsettling rooms. Let your presence keep rewriting probabilities. You're no longer knocking on doors. You're part of the wiring now. And the funniest part, they'll keep acting normal, right up until they realize normal doesn't work anymore. Don't mistake their calm for confidence. It's anesthesia. When something hits too close to the core, the first instinct isn't to scream. It's to go numb. You've seen this before in yourself. That moment after pain, where everything goes quiet and you realize the damage isn't loud. It's permanent. That's what you did to the environment. You didn't cause chaos, you caused awareness. And awareness is heavier than fear, because it doesn't go away when the noise stops. They're rehearsing normality like a script they've memorized since childhood. Smile here, shrug there, change the subject. Because acknowledging you would force them to confront a truth they've spent their lives avoiding. Control was never as centralized as they were taught. Safety was never guaranteed, and the system only works because most people never touch the pressure points. You touched one. Gently. Precisely. Like someone who's been studying anatomy in the dark. This is where your evolution separates you from the loud ones. The loud ones crave reaction. You let reaction come to you disguised as indifference. You recognize it in the delayed responses, the sudden politeness, the unnecessary meetings, the way people explain things you didn't ask about. Over-explaining is a confession. Normal behavior doesn't need footnotes. You've learned to live inside paradox, and that's why you're dangerous to simple minds. You can be compassionate without being soft. You can be ruthless without being cruel. You can stand still and still be advancing. That balance only comes from pain that wasn't wasted, pain that was studied, pain that taught you where people fracture when they're forced to hold two truths at once. They want you to pick a side so they can categorize you, hero or villain, genius or threat, blessings or problem. But you exist in the overlap, and overlaps don't fit into forms. They glitch spreadsheets. They crash narratives. You don't need to announce who you are because your outcomes introduce you long before your name ever does. Notice how they keep checking the past, trying to explain the present. Logs, histories. How did this start? Questions. That's desperation wearing curiosity's clothes. They don't want to know how. It scares them. They want reassurance that it can't happen again. And the truth, it can. Because it wasn't an accident. It was alignment meeting opportunity, and alignment doesn't go backward. You're not chasing relevance. You're building inevitability. Every move you don't make is as intentional as the ones you do. Every silence is a decision. Every pause, it's pressure. You let people underestimate you because underestimation creates space, and space is where leverage lives. You've learned that the most effective force is the one nobody sees coming, because they're too busy watching the wrong indicators. This is the angel-demon split they can't resolve. You don't look like what you do. You don't sound like what you cause. Your demeanor says peace, while your effects say disruption. That confuses predators and comforts the innocent. That's power refined enough to pass as calm. And here's the part they'll never admit out loud. The reason they're acting normal is because they're waiting to see if you'll escalate. They're holding their breath, hoping you'll reveal yourself, hoping you'll overplay your hand so they can label and neutralize you. You don't. You keep living, improving, quietly expanding. And every day you don't explode, their anxiety compounds. Because the worst outcome for them isn't chaos, it's continuity. It's you existing tomorrow, unchanged, unaffected, still moving with that same steady rhythm that already proved it could touch the core. Chaos burns out. Continuity replaces regimes. You've crossed a threshold where attention follows you, even when you're not in the room. Where your absence is still felt. Where decisions are made with you in mind, even if you're not named. That's when you know you're no longer reacting to the world. You're shaping its behavior indirectly. So keep your posture relaxed. Keep your eyes clear. Let them keep pretending. Let the feeds scroll. Let the smiles hold. You don't need validation from people who can't admit what they witnessed. You already have the only proof that matters. The shift, the recalibration, the quiet fear dressed up as normal life. You didn't just hit global servers. You taught the system that there are players who don't need access. Because they are access. And once that lesson is learned, it never fully unlearns. Stay with that stillness. That's where your real leverage lives. Stillness isn't passive, it's loaded. It's the chambered round they don't hear click. While they keep acting normal, your calm keeps rearranging the furniture in their heads. They replay the moment quietly, out of order, trying to find a version of events where you didn't change the equation. They won't find it. Once a system feels a new ceiling, it can't unfeel it. They keep asking the wrong question. They're asking what happened instead of what changed. Because if they asked the second one, they'd have to admit the truth. The environment adapted to you, not the other way around. That's the difference between someone who participates and someone who redefines the rules of participation. You didn't violate policy. You revealed policy's fragility. You didn't expose secrets. You exposed the illusion of containment. This is where the duality sharpens. You carry warmth that disarms and a cold edge that cuts through nonsense. You can sit across from someone, nodding gently, while their instincts scream that something about you doesn't fit the usual math. You're not tense. You're not aggressive. You're not needy. And that's what terrifies them. Because the old scripts rely on tells, anger, hunger, insecurity. You've burned those tells down and kept the fire. Pain did that. Not the dramatic kind, the slow kind, the kind that teaches you patience because impatience got you hurt, the kind that trains your nervous system to stay calm while others spike. You learn to breathe through pressure until pressure became familiar, then useful. Now you walk into rooms already acclimated to conditions that make others fumble. Watch how they adjust their language around you, how statements become questions, how certainty softens into maybe. That's not respect yet, it's caution. Respect comes later, when they realize caution didn't slow you down. When they realize the version of normal they're clinging to can't coexist with the version of you that already proved itself. You don't rush that realization. You let it mature. You let them discover on their own time that pretending nothing happened didn't restore balance. It postponed acknowledgement. And acknowledgement is coming, whether they want it or not. Because systems always reconcile with reality eventually. They either adapt or they fracture. You're the stress test. Here's the part that separates you from imitators. You're not trying to be seen as powerful. You're trying to be effective. Power that needs witnesses is fragile. Effectiveness compounds quietly. You don't post proof. You create outcomes. You don't argue narratives. You shift incentives. And once incentives change, behavior follows without a single speech. They'll keep scanning for motives because motive is how they categorize threats. But your motive isn't domination. It's alignment. You move when it makes sense, not when it's flashy. You stop when stopping creates more pressure than pushing. That kind of restraint reads as mercy to some and menace to others. Both reactions serve you. The angel in you understands restraint. The demon in you understands timing. Together they make something they can't predict. You can choose not to strike and still win. You can choose to strike once and never again. That optionality is what breaks models. They don't know which version of you will show up, and the answer is neither. Your past versions now. You're operating from principles, not moods. Let them normalize. Let them numb themselves with routine. Routine is how people convince themselves the ground isn't shifting. But you know better. You felt the tremor. You caused it. And you didn't even need to be dramatic. That's the lesson that will haunt them. The most consequential moves don't announce themselves. You've stepped into a phase where your presence changes probabilities, where plans include margins for you, even if your name isn't written down, where silence around you is louder than noise elsewhere. That's not paranoia, that's pattern recognition catching up. So keep refining, keep choosing precision over volume, keep letting your calm unsettle rooms that expect chaos. You're not here to be believed, you're here to persist. And persistence, when paired with unpredictability, becomes something close to inevitability. They'll keep acting normal until normal stops working. And when that day comes, they won't ask what happened. They'll ask who saw it coming. You won't answer. You'll already be moving quietly, cleanly, through a system that finally understands. It can't pretend you didn't touch it. And here's where it settles. You don't need to press it further. The mark is already there. The system remembers even when people pretend not to. Memory lives deeper than headlines, deeper than chatter. It lives in behavior, in hesitation, in caution, in the way doors open a half-second faster now, in the way resistance shows up softer, indirect, disguised as politeness. They'll keep acting normal because normal is the last defense against admitting loss of control. Let them have it. You don't need their acknowledgement. You already have something heavier. The quiet confirmation that your move landed, that the world adjusted, that reality flinched and then carried on with a limp. You didn't shatter anything publicly, you bent it privately. And bends don't snap back, so walk steady, say less, do less, and mean it more. You're not here to make noise anymore, you're here to change outcomes. And the moment you understood that, the game stopped being about visibility and started being about permanence. They can keep pretending nothing happened. You know better, and that's enough.